Researchers have found high levels of toxins in fish, shrimp, oysters, and crabs.
Why do you say outside universities and federal agencies? Why do you exclude them?
Because they are being paid by, either being controlled or being paid by British Petroleum.
Now the Gulf's back. Our shrimpers and fishermen are back on the water, our beaches are clean, just in time for spring break. And we're back to doing what we love, serving Gulf seafood.
When people found out local shrimp was back on the menu, the phone rang and rang. Business gets better every day.
We're making sure that tourists know they can come back, and we're open for business.
I'm Brian Czar.
And I'm Brooke Czar, and we own Restaurant Des Familles. We've got the best gumbo in town, but don't take our word for it.
Give us a call. We'll save you a table by the window.
I think there's a lot of pressure to make it less severe than it is. It's not only from the seafood aspect, but from the health impacts that are occurring. And I think that the federal agencies would like this to be attended to, and let's move on. Meanwhile, the people along the coast are being left very sick, severely impacted, and they have nowhere to turn.
My sign read, "Stop BP crumbs."
We've sampled approximately 50 people, sampled their blood for the volatile organics. The volatile organics that we're finding in their blood are the same that were in the BP crude and the dispersants, and they're the same that were detected in the air in the areas around the BP crude and dispersant.
Αν εξαιρέσουμε κάποιες ομοσπονδιακές υπηρεσίες, σήμερα κανείς δεν μπορεί να βάλει το χέρι του στη φωτιά για την ασφάλεια των θαλασσινών από τις μολυσμένες περιοχές. Όταν η αλληλεία είναι ένας από τους σημαντικότερους πυλώνες για την οικονομική ανάπτυξη στον Αμερικανικό Νότο και τα όρια συνεγερμού που θέτουν οι αρχές για τη μόλυνση στα θαλασσινά τροποποιούνται ώστε τα αποτελέσματα να είναι πιο καθησυχαστικά, τότε το πιο κρίσιμο ερώτημα είναι αν μπορεί κανείς να φάει άφοβα μια μερίδα γαρίδας από τον κόλπο του Μεξικού. Δείτε πώς αντιδρούν οι ψαράδες, αλλά και τι απαντούν οι επιστήμονες που συναντήσαμε.
The local media has carried very little. Baton Rouge paper, New Orleans paper, a little. New Iberia paper, no. So, and what they carry is sort of an overview, but not the specifics. They don't carry about how many people in their area of distribution are sick.
Why?
Because in Louisiana, oil is king. It is the underpinning of our economy. And what you don't want is you don't want to degrade the perception that the oil industry causes environmental problems. I can't tell you the number of times over the years I've been doing this kind of work where the federal agencies will come to me and say, you're creating a situation that we don't have the money to address the situation. It's all about how much it's going to cost to deal with the situation. BP is denying people's claims for illnesses, and some of them have hired attorneys. But as you know, the attorney route is going to take a very, very long time. That does nothing for their situation now.
Thank you.
Amen. Amen.
representing?
I'm representing fishermen, hotels, resorts, property owners all along the affected areas.
Are we talking about many people here?
About 1,000 right now.
1,000 people. What are they asking?
What are they asking? They want to be compensated for their losses and injuries from the oil spill. People, if they don't get adequate compensation through the claims process, need to be prepared to sue.
And what are the most difficult claims?
The most difficult claims are going to be those that are alleging personal injury or injury from exposure to the hydrocarbons that were being released from the oil during the burning of the oil, and also the off-gassing of the oil that went into the coastal communities. There are a lot of sick people, and those are going to be the toughest cases. It's very easy to prove someone lost money. You show what they were making before, and you show what they're making now, and then you can calculate that. But the impact to human health is just huge. There are a lot of sick people along the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, right now we came offshore a few miles from the South Pass. We're in what we call the East Bay field, this oil field here. And it was found back in the late 40s, 50s. If you've looked around and seen thousands of small individual oil and gas wells, and they all have pipelines that run into these bigger collection stations or pumping stations, gathering stations. They all come into one central facility, and then they're piped back inland towards New Orleans, which is 80 miles north of us from here.
I think a few things have changed at the policy level. The Obama administration has moved very aggressively to put new rules, new safety rules in place. They are putting many new safety requirements on the oil industry, and they're going to do much more inspections of the drilling operations. They're also going to require much stricter environmental reviews.
I don't think industry has in place what's needed to quickly cut off a similar blowout immediately the way it should. It has learned lessons of how to deal with exactly the same kind of accident more quickly, but it would still be weeks before something were cut off. So it wouldn't be 3 months, but it might be 6 weeks. So there's been some more positive, but it's not where it should be yet.
There is no way that you can operate in this kind of an environment within 100% surety that nothing's going to happen. And after the environmental impacts that we've seen, I think that we should rethink allowing people to drill in areas with such high risk.
One lesson that we hope will be learned from this is that we must, as a nation, as a world, as a civilization, if you will, make a transition to a clean energy future.
We're burning almost 1/4 of the oil that's produced worldwide, and we're less than 5% of the world's population. We have a problem. We have to deal with that. We have to reduce our reliance on this fuel.
This catastrophe came from sweet oil?
Light sweet crude, yeah. Sweet is because it doesn't have a lot of hydrogen sulfide and things that make it difficult to deal with. It's easy to refine. It's light, which means it has not a lot of the heavier components, the thick, gooey components. It's got a lot of the gasoline side, if you will, so that it's great for production of fuel.
Are most of these rigs active?
Yes, all of them. If you get up close to them, you can actually hear the gas and the oil fluids flowing through the pipelines.
Is it okay for the fish?
Yeah, the fish love it. It gives them a place to hide and grow up and feed, spawn. It's a great place.
So fishing close to the rig is common?
We always fish next to the rigs. The closer you can get to the rig, the better. And in fact, a lot of times when you hook a real big fish next to one of these rigs, they'll go right back underneath and cut your line off. So really, this is a fantastic fishery right here. Crazy thing is out here, you never know what kind of fish you're going to catch. There may be 20 different species of fish down there. Yep.
So what's your record?
I've had some days where I've caught 400, 500, 600 fish, just different species, different types. And
you don't have any concerns that they might be contaminated somehow?
No, I'm not really all that concerned about it. The EPA and different federal agencies have been out here testing the water, testing the soil, testing the fish. I think if it was really bad or toxic, then they would have shut everything down.
Seems like a big one.
Yeah, that's a bigger fish. Oh, that's not a big fish.
All right, man, what's this?
This is a drum.
You eat that stuff?
I wouldn't eat one this big. The smaller ones are much better eaten. Not very light either.
That's a big fish.
That's a big one. Smell like oil.
You gonna eat it from here?
Absolutely.
What we want to be certain is that if the oil gets into the food chain, will the fish remain safe to eat? We believe, we hope that it will. But we want good science to monitor the ocean conditions, not just for a week or a month, but for several years, because this is the only way to know for sure that the seafood will be safe.
It'll be very interesting to see what ultimately happens, but I think if the state says the seafood's clean, then they're testing it. I've been involved in discussions with the public health officials throughout the spill, and they took this extremely seriously.
My main fear is that some of the small fish that are very low on the food chain, or shrimp, or even crustacea, will not recover from the oil spill, and then everything that depends on them for food will starve to death, even if they had no problem from the actual oil from the spill.
The Gulf is very large. The spill did cover a large area, but by far the majority of the Gulf was totally unaffected by oil. I mean, the shores of Texas were not affected. The vast majority of Florida was unaffected by it. So there's no question that these areas are safe to take seafood from.
Do you eat seafood?
I do. And I cross my fingers and hope for the best. I do believe the reports that most of the seafood's okay. I also know that not all the seafood I eat is coming from Louisiana anymore. But I don't ask for a passport when I see a shrimp. If it's on my plate, I eat it.